You ever think about what's really shaping your day-to-day life? I mean, what's the invisible force behind it all? It's not some big, complicated secret. It's actually something way simpler, something you're doing right now, this very second. We're going to dive into the incredible power of a single repeated thought.
No, really, just stop and think about that for a second. What if your whole world, the way you see things, the opportunities that come your way, how people respond to you, what if all of that could be totally transformed just by changing one dominant idea you hold in your mind?
Because here's the secret. Our reality is being built all the time by this unseen architect. And that architect, it's simply whatever thought we let run the show in our minds. And honestly, most of the time, we're not even paying attention to what it's building.
And this is so crucial. This isn't about just trying to think a happy thought here and there. That's like trying to build a solid wall with just a few bricks scattered around. It doesn't work. Real, lasting change happens when one single thought is repeated so consistently that it becomes the new foundation. It becomes your new default setting.
This brings us to something really freeing, the power of one. So many of us get completely bogged down with all the techniques out there, scripting, visualizing, massive lists of affirmations. But you know what? The most powerful path is almost always the simplest one.
Yeah, this really lays it all out, doesn't it? On one side, you've got the common approach, which can feel chaotic, right? Juggling a bunch of different affirmations, complex rituals, and on top of all that, this immense pressure to feel it. But the alternative? It's so much cleaner. Just one dominant thought. Simple, consistent repetition. It takes all the pressure off and just lets the process do its thing.
Okay, so how does this even work? I mean, how can one little sentence actually change anything in your life? Well, it all comes down to learning the language that your subconscious mind actually understands.
So let's get clear on what we're even talking about. An affirmation isn't some magic spell. It's just a statement, a simple statement describing the reality you'd rather be living in. That's it. You're just talking about a state of being like it's already a fact.
And this is the key right here. Your subconscious mind doesn't really learn from a big logical argument. It learns through repetition. Think about it. Every single belief you have right now, the good and the bad, got there because some thought was repeated over and over until it just felt true. Repetition is like water slowly carving a new groove in a rock. Eventually, that new path becomes the easiest one for your thoughts to flow down.
And this is how it happens. It's a really natural process. First, you just repeat the thought. That's it. After a while, that repetition makes the thought feel, well, familiar. It doesn't seem so strange anymore. Then that familiarity starts to feel like a belief. And once that belief is locked in, your outer world has no choice but to start reflecting it. All right, let's make this super practical. How do you actually do this without it becoming another stressful chore on your to-do list? The whole idea is to keep it simple and take all the pressure off.
Let's take this one. Everything always works out for me. When you repeat this, you're not trying to solve a specific problem. You're just installing a deep, quiet trust in your mind. You're shifting your baseline expectation from, problems to, solutions are coming.
Now, this one can feel a little tricky, right? Your brain might immediately fire back with all the times you didn't get what you wanted. But here's the cool part. Repetition doesn't get into an argument. It just kind of sidesteps that resistance. It keeps planting the seed until the new idea feels more normal than the old one.
Or what about this? I am extremely lucky. What does this do? It literally retrains what your brain pays attention to. You start noticing the little wins, the lucky breaks, the moments where things just click into place. You're basically training yourself to see evidence of your own luck everywhere.
And you don't need to block out an hour on your calendar for this. The real magic happens when you just weave it into your day. Silently repeat your phrase while you're walking the dog, chopping onions, sitting in traffic, or right as you're drifting off to sleep. It's the small, consistent drops that fill the bucket. And listen, if you only take one thing away from this, let it be this. You do not have to believe your affirmation for it to start working. Let me say that again. Belief is the result of this process, not a prerequisite. All you have to bring to the table is the repetition. The belief will catch up later, I promise. So what happens when you actually stick with it? You'll start to see things change. It might be subtle at first, but that internal shift in your dominant thought has to lead to external shifts in your experience. It's just cause and effect. This just shows it so perfectly. Think about two different people. The one whose mind is dominated by things always go wrong is always on the lookout for problems. They hesitate, they're full of doubt. But the person whose mind is dominated by
Everything always works out for me. They just expect solutions. They move through life with this quiet confidence. These two people are living in completely different worlds, and it all starts with that one core thought.
And that brings us to the final, and I think the most powerful piece of this whole puzzle. This is not about learning some brand new skill. It's about consciously taking control of a skill you already have mastered.
Seriously, take a moment and be honest with yourself. What's the mental soundtrack you already have on repeat all day, every day? Is it a loop of worry about money? A constant stream of self-criticism? A story about how things are hard? See, you're already an expert at repetition.
And that's where all your power is. The real work isn't in learning how to do this, it's in making a conscious choice about which thought gets the airtime in your head. That one simple choice, when you practice it consistently, is the quiet force that will absolutely reshape your entire world. So the only real question left is, what thought are you going to choose?